So we all know that there are negative stereotypes about Black women. But in this video, I want to talk about the princess theory. This is my theory about a set of positive assumptions that people make about Black women. I want to break this down for you, and I'm going to give you some advice about how you can get that princess treatment. So one of the things that I've noticed is that, many people assume that Black women are nice, friendly, and warm, and kind. And I say many people, look, I know this isn't all people. We're speaking in generalizations here, because these are observations that I've seen over time and when looking at larger groups as well as specific anecdotal situations. So obviously I'm aware that, there are horrible, mean people, right? Who no matter what a person does, no matter what you do, they might not like the other person just because of the color of their skin, etc. I'm aware of that. But generally, there is this phenomenon where, Black women are seen as nice and friendly people. Black women are people who think that, people assume that a Black woman is humble, rather than entitled and mean-spirited or cruel. People assume that Black women are their ally. They make all kind of assumptions about what your beliefs are and that sort of thing, and think that, you empathize with them and you're on their side, or you understand them, or something they're sharing, for example, resonates with you because of things that Black women go through. People assume that Black women are, how do I put it? They're not scared of us. They don't see us and act afraid and all that. Hey, these are generalizations, because I've had non-Black women, when I'm walking down the street, clutch their purse and all that, right? I'm aware that there are people who, again, have negative attitudes and whatnot. I'm aware of the society that we're operating in, and those institutional factors. But what I want to shine a light on, though, is that there are people who, if they see a Black woman coming, they don't feel afraid or anything like that. There's this thing where sometimes even, white men or men of other races, any man basically is more likely to be perceived as, a threat than a Black woman when we walk down the street, for example. So there are these different things that come into play. I've noticed this type of vibe when I'm approaching someone. There was a time when I was going to get in a line at a restaurant, and there was a man kind of waiting off to the side, and I just approached him just to say, "Oh, excuse me, are you in line?" And when I went up to him and said, "Excuse me," and this is a non-Black, non-white man, he just smiled, he was just so pleased that I was approaching him. It seemed like before I even sort of said what I was, the question I was asking, he just seemed like he perked up with the smile, and I asked the question, and he said, "Oh no, I'm not in line," but it was just I've had different experiences like that where it just feels like, I don't know, especially when you approach the right way, people are seeing a Black woman and it's like they're seeing a princess. I'm, like a cartoon, literally. And I'm just, tell me in the comments if you disagree or if this hasn't been your experience as a Black woman. And tell me if you do agree, if you've had similar experiences to what I'm describing. But, in classroom settings as well, I've seen this where everyone's sitting around and talking about things, and people, it's like they're assuming that, as a Black woman, that you have a supportive, stance about whatever it is they're talking about. Do you get what I'm saying? They're just, and I'm sure you've seen the video, the different videos and social media content going viral talking about, Black women, I love when a Black woman calls me baby, or older Black women are so warm, and da-da. And there are problems with that. Don't get me wrong, there are negative sides to these types of things when it comes to Black women being, treated like we're supposed to be the heroes or the comforter of, every other race and every other person, every other group, you know what I mean? That is a problem. But there are positives to this type of princess treatment as well. There are ways in which you can get better service when it comes to wait staff or other people that you come into contact with, on the customer service side, right? So like you're the customer and they're the person working at whatever the place is. I just feel like when you're a Black woman leading with kindness and that sort of thing, like you can really get better treatment because people are perceiving you as, this warm person, this person who's kind and not like entitled or mean-spirited. I think that, the best way to use the princess theory to get princess treatment is to lead with genuine kindness and empathy and gentleness when you're interacting with people. But also use your discernment, so when you're thinking, like I do this all the time, like if I'm walking up to the counter someplace, like at the airport or something, and I can see, there's two lines forming, or like when you're checking out the grocery store, you can see the cashiers, you can take a quick glance, use your own discernment. That person, might hate my guts, or what if I go to this line, like, they're going to be treating me very, very, kindly and like with respect and everything and understanding. So, use your discernment, or like if you're approaching someone to ask for help or ask a question, use your discernment with who you approach. But, along those same lines, do try asking for what you want. Try asking for help. I know as Black women, it can be very hard to ask for help. But, when you do, that's when you can really unlock a lot of kindness, from other people towards us. So, and my next piece of advice on that would be to use your soft side rather than like a mean-spirited type of vibe. You know what I mean? Choose vulnerability over getting mad and upset, because sometimes there's different situations arise and the service isn't great or people aren't being very, nice. And again, use discernment because some of the people are just haters. But those who are not haters, but they just ran out of, what the thing that they're supposed to be giving out or whatever it is. Right. And if you lead with kindness, if you use your soft side, then that's how you end up with special treatment. Like I've, had a situation where I was on a plane and, they asked me, the flights team asked me, they said basically something about the seat I was in. They like needed it for the flight attendants or something. And they had overbooked the flight or something. Like I'm already on the plane at this point. I'm buckled in, but they were like, we were wondering if someone could move because, it was some logistical thing. They wanted someone to move from my row. And I was like, sure. I was just very friendly about it, very casual, and kind, and empathetic to their situation. And so I agreed to move. And so they moved me to like the very back row of the plane. So I was sitting there and they said, this is just temporary. We're going to figure out like where we can seat you for the duration of the flight. But thank you so much for, moving for the flight team members or whatever. So I was just like, hey, absolutely no problem. No worries at all. Just very kind. And next thing you know, like a couple minutes passed and literally before the plane even took off, they told me that they would be moving me to first class. And so then they literally, once the plane gets settled in the air, after takeoff, we're going to, have someone, take you to first class. Like you can go up to first class. So I went up to first class. And that was my first experience riding in first class, was a free trip basically. And it all came from being humble and being kind, being understanding, choosing to be gentle and soft and genuine instead of getting upset and mad and having like a mean-spirited, mean girl type of vibe. Like, that entitled white woman Karen type of energy. Like, no, like that's not me. That's, so, those are some of the stories of the experiences that I have with this, and that's part of why I have this princess theory. So, I mean, tell me, have you noticed this in your life? Have you observed this in action when it comes to other Black women, celebrities you've seen? I can think of examples of like, there are celebrities who people will assume that the person is, this nice, friendly, warm person, you know what I mean? Or like they will think, give the woman the benefit of the doubt that she's confident, not entitled. Like, she's you do get what I'm saying? Like there's something there. And I think it's something that we can really tap into by just really embodying those kind traits. So let me know what you think about the princess theory. Thank you for watching this video. I look forward to hearing your comments and seeing you for the next one. Take care.